I think it's cool that non-Jews want to be with us and help us and support us. What was the vision that this was supposed to be? A safe place for Jewish people to live and worship as Jews and raise their children in this way. You being here should be a ministry for you to help facilitate that, to help make it happen. That's our present. What is our future? According to the Bible, heaven comes down on earth. Yeshua reigns for 1,000 years. That's our ultimate future. The immediate future, who knows? I'm not a prophet. But I can tell you this. As we have been following the more traditional approach to things, living a more Jewish life, a more traditional life, in a genuine way, not window dressing. But this is really the way we worship. This is really the way we do things. Doors have been opening in the Jewish world. There was a time when, the minute you said, well, I'm Messianic, they go, Jews for Jesus. There's still some people who do that. But when I tell people, no, I'm a Messianic rabbi, they go, oh. But they don't push me away. I said, but I'm as traditional as you. I do this, I do that. And I've had people say, I believe you're Jewish. You're still Jewish and you're doing this. I may not agree with you on who Yeshua is, but I can accept you as a person. That's a step. That's a big step. Second one is, among some of the Jewish religious theologians, we've gained a level of credibility we've never had before. We've always been dismissed out of hand, whether as Hebrew Christians or Messianic Jews. They don't want to hear about us. They don't want to know about us. They've made it like we're some kind of a joke. But a month ago, I was in LA, and I had Shabbat dinner with one of the foremost theologians, Jewish theologians, alive today. And it was really cool talking to him. He's been involved in Jewish-Christian dialogue for years. And he was telling me he knew Abraham Joshua Heschel. Heschel was the one who told him to get air conditioning. He knew Karl Barth. He knew Martin Buber. These were his friends, his colleagues. Who do I have? Dowerman and Kinzer? Oh, that's not so bad either. But he was telling us about his experience with these men. And he said he met most of you know who Karl Barth is? Anyway, Karl Barth was a major Christian theologian from, I guess, the 20s up through the 50s, 60s. And he was the father of neo-Orthodoxy. Neo-Orthodoxy got a bad rap because it wasn't as fundamentalists liked. But the bottom line was, he turned people away from liberalism and said about the Bible, this contains the Word of God. He didn't say it was the Word of God, but he said it contains it. He moved people back in a direction towards faith in the Scriptures. So for that, I give him kudos. But he said, he was talking with this theologian, who I'm not mentioning because I don't know if he'd want me to mention it since it's being taped. He sat down with him and he said, you know what the difference is? This is what Barth said. You know what the difference is between you Jews and we Christians? And he said, what? He said, well, you Jews have the promise of God, and we Christians have the promise and the fulfillment. And this Jewish theologian said, Dr. Barth, from our perspective, if you have a promise from God, you have the fulfillment as well. It's the same. And Barth said, I never thought of that. But this is the level of theologian who hung out with those guys. They're accepting us. And he was asking us, well, why is it that you believe in Yeshua? Because you're living a traditional life. He advocates that Messianic Jews should live a Torah-observant life if they are going to follow Yeshua, it doesn't cancel any of that out. And that's kind of what we're saying too, which is kind of cool for us. But understand, that's our future. The traditionally oriented Messianic congregations are the future, because the ones that just center around dance and hoopla, that's good for now. It's been good for the last 30 years. But what's Jewish is not Davidic dance. It's not a charismatic Pentecostal effect with a kippah on. It's people living genuine Jewish lives. And I think our direction is going to go more in that direction. It's going to go more in that way. You're going to see a more traditional Messianic Judaism. Because very few of the people who opposed it are around anymore. And the ones that are have become more accepting of it because it works. People felt if you were traditional, you'd somehow give up your faith in Yeshua. You know, how worthy is a faith if all it takes is a few traditions to turn you away from it? We understand that. We understand the tradition, and we understand faith in Yeshua, and we find no contradiction in them. So we're able to live as Jews and live with a faith in Yeshua. We went from being basically Jews lost in the church to Jews who banded together for our own sense of identity, for the sake of our children, to be who we are and worship Yeshua, to a larger movement of Jews and Gentiles together worshiping the Jewish Messiah, to a movement that started to lose its own sense of itself, where we almost became another denomination, just a denomination. And we recaptured our vision. Jewish people living as Jews, passing it on to our children with the help of dear Gentile friends who are with us. I've had people, I was speaking at a conference about a month ago, and people were inventing that they're from this tribe or that tribe. Have you seen some of that? Let me explain. And if you're one of those people, I hope you're offended by it, because I'm offended by it. Because when you start inventing tribes that you're from, and it becomes like a Dungeon and Dragon religion. You know, you create a character, a fictional character, and then you go out and play it. You live it out. Now, what's wrong with that? Who gets hurt? My wife used to operate an AOL chat room called Messianic Jews Chat. And we had people from all over, all different backgrounds come. And we had one woman who popped in one day and introduced herself as a Levite princess. Now, it took me 5 minutes to pull myself off the floor from cracking up. And I proceeded to tell her how there are no princesses in the Bible who are Levites. You know, wrong tribe. And she got offended and says, I am too, and left. All that does is turn what we are into a laughingstock. It trivializes it to the point that the identity doesn't mean anything. That's why people trying to say they are us is the ultimate replacement theology. That's not what we're here for. It's not about replacement.